gotta start watching the Mariners game.
You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
Drill? Is that a drill
Should
noise?
that be the new drill sound? Or maybe dentist drill sound?
Could we get like a better drill sound? That was pretty good. Maybe we take all three of those and we like mash them up together. What was that one?
I don't know.
Okay.
A bad drill, I guess.
I'm Justin Domashevitz. That's my co-host Daniel Hargrove.
Sometimes.
Our producer Andrew Gross is also here with us, and you're listening to The Scrimmage. We got like so much stuff to talk about today. Like stuff. Like all just stuff, man. There's no local sports.
That bums me out.
Yeah, but stuff though.
You know how nice it was this year having full seasons for all of the high school sports?
Really nice.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you never know what you got until it's gone.
Don't
And then
it
it comes
always
back
seem
and
to
you
go
can appreciate it.
that you don't know what you got till it's gone?
Yeah. Pave paradise.
That's deep, bro. They put up a parking lot?
Yeah. Well, how are we thinking the same on that
don't know.
Team rhyme? I don't know.
Sometimes we finish each other's.
Sandwiches.
Yeah.
Which is weird because then we get germs. Where did this go? 2-minute drill.
Were we live?
I think so. Starts now.
Let's go, huddle up! Gotta hurry. Hey, 2-minute situation, 44 seconds, hand the ball to ref. Gonna do it right. 3 jet Buckeye on 1 right 3.
The 2-minute drill starts now.
Tom Brady said on Thursday that he has zero problems with former head coach Bruce Arians. Daniel, do you believe him?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say you don't have zero problems with anybody that you work with, especially at that level. At first, I thought this was completely a no. But then part of me wonders if Bruce Arians, just let Tom Brady do what he wanted. So maybe he does not have many problems. I don't know. In the midst of a 12-game losing streak, didn't they end up losing more than that? Have the Angels won yet?
They won 2 out of their last 3. I'm pretty sure.
No, darn it. LA Angels
And they're
fired.
ahead of the Mariners in the standings.
Well, yeah, that's how bad the Mariners were.
Yeah.
Angels fired manager Joe Madden, no relation. Justin, was that too quick a trigger for the former World Series winning skipper?
I've heard so many people answer this question this week, and I think virtually everyone is looking at it wrong because really the manager in baseball is not really, it's not so much what did you do as far as wins and losses. It's what kind of culture did you create in the clubhouse? And if they were in the midst of a 12-game losing streak and the front office was looking at it going, Joe Madden, 1 billion years old, we're losing like crazy, players aren't listening to him anymore, we need a fresh voice in the locker room or in the clubhouse, I guess, because it's baseball. That totally makes sense to me. So I think it probably was the right move, but without being on the inside, it's kind of hard to tell.
Then you remember that Tony Larussa is still managing somewhere.
We should talk about him
1 billion
after
years
this, because he did something weird this week.
Well, he's 9 million years old. Oh, wait, 1 billion? Is that what we're going with?
6 billion.
Oh, he's old.
Yeah, he's even older.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf skipped Seahawks minicamp last week. Daniel, should fans be worried that the Hawks won't be able to work out a deal with the star wideout?
Yes.
Trade rumors are swirling.
And that is because you traded away a good quarterback, and now he's going, wait, that's who's throwing me the ball this year? I don't know, man. Don't like it.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
No.
Kendrick Perkins.
You shake your head every time you say his name out loud.
Yeah.
Me too.
That was like instant reaction right there. Thinks the Miami Heat need to blow up the core of their team after an Eastern Conference Finals loss to the Boston Celtics. Justin, do you agree with Perk's analysis?
I have. It is really hard to take anything he says seriously.
Yeah.
He's such a goober. I'm trying to think of the right word to describe him. Like, I don't feel like most analysis of his is real analysis. I feel like it's a what inflammatory thing can I say that will get a reaction out of people. It's like hot take radio or TV at its worst. The Miami Heat specifically, it's like, okay, this team with the same core a couple years ago made it to the NBA Finals. This past year was in a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals that was decided by a shot in the final 16 seconds.
Yeah.
It feels like they need to blow it up. It's
Didn't
a
they
little
have some
stupid.
injuries in that series?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But like if he had said something a little more specific, like, hey, Victor Oladipo, too injured, not good anymore, played too many minutes. Kyle Lowry, too old, out of shape, doesn't fit Heat culture. Like, you need to take some of the guys that are on the fringes of the core and retool. It totally makes sense. But their core is actually pretty young, if you don't include Jimmy Butler, because he's still great, but getting a little older.
Yeah.
But, you know, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, there's a bunch of other like young guys that you
got to get rid of all of them.
never heard of, because I know that you hadn't, because we did this game a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't think their core should be blown up. I think it's kind of silly to say.
Yeah. Even me, who doesn't know that much, knew Jimmy Buckets, Tyler Hero, and that they have had success.
Right.
And Tyler Hero's still young, and they have Bam Adebayo. I also knew that one.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what's this guy? What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Even me on the very fringes of knowledge about this situation is going, that can't be right.
What's it like on the knowledge fringe?
Relaxing. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Mariners just lost, by the way, 2-0.
That sucks. Tony Larussa.
Yeah.
Did you see what he did this week?
Is he the guy? Yeah, he is the manager. So, right? When they walked Trey Turner?
He intentionally walked Trey Turner.
When he already had 2 strikes.
It was a 1-2 count, and the reason he did it was because there was a wild pitch, and first base became empty. So he was like, oh, Trey Turner, he's really good. Let's just walk him, because then we can get to Max Muncy,
Who then
hit a dinger.
Yeah.
And then the White Sox ended up losing the game because of it. And then
Muncy, you can read his lips coming into the dugout after stepping on home plate going, bleep and walk him with 2 strikes.
Yeah.
That's what you get. Or
Yeah,
something like
disrespectful.
That. Yeah.
But then the other thing I
It's
thought
so
was
dumb.
really funny out of that.
Okay, your percentage, they keep track of the percentages of what your on-base probability is, even with certain counts. Mm-hmm. So if you guys watched like the Apple game where Apple TV had the had the Mariners broadcast once this year. I can't remember who they're playing, but it popped up the percentage every time like there was a pitch, like 1-0. Here's the percentage of that this player will reach base. And if you get to a 0-2 or a 1-2 count, your percentages plummet.
Right, and so Trey Turner, I had
Unless you're
heard
Ty France.
somebody say the stat that
just
he was
joking.
batting like .238 with 2 strikes this year.
Yeah.
Which I think he batted like .320 something last year.
With 2 strikes?
No, like overall.
Overall, okay.
So if you're comparing those two to each other,
No.
it's like a 100-point drop.
Yeah, he's
So
really good.
He's really good, but you
Because
would think like,
238 with 2 strikes is pretty darn good.
and it wasn't 3-2. It wasn't even 2-2.
No.
It was 1-2. Why wouldn't you just employ the strategy that I don't mind if you get on base, let's give you the Barry Bonds treatment and pitch to you and hope you chase something.
Spike 3 curveballs.
Yeah, well, they just had a wild pitch that advanced a
Probably not.
runner, so maybe not spike 3 curveballs, but like
know.
throw balls and
Yeah.
try to get him to chase something.
Yeah.
It was a really weird choice, but my
So
favorite
weird.
thing from that whole thing was watching the replay of a clip where during the game a fan yelled, "Tony, he has 2 strikes," and you can hear it just plain as day coming over the broadcast. It was really funny.
Somebody's like, he doesn't realize.
Yeah, and now fans are chanting "Fire Tony" at White Sox games.
Well, the decision to hire Tony Larussa
Weird.
was so weird
So
for a team in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a young team and you just hired the grumpiest old man you could think of.
Yeah.
I don't see how that fits
Right.
whatsoever. And Joe Madden, even though he's old, he's seen more as Pete Carroll
He's
old.
kind of the loose fun guy.
He's like the Pete Carroll. Like, yeah, he's the weird guy.
Maybe they can fire Tony La Russa and bring in Madden.
They might. Yeah.
Joe Girardi also just got fired. So there's a couple of Joes out there, a couple of old Joes.
Old Joe's done.
Not
for.
about the Joes.
What do you think about?
It's about the X's and the O's.
Yeah.
Not the
or
Jimmies and
something
the
like
Joes.
that. Wait, I think you had that backwards.
Yeah.
Do you think Decaf Metcalf is gonna move on because there's no quarterback? Am I overblowing that situation? Because I'm really worried that he's gonna be like, yeah, these guys are the ones throwing to me.
So
No thanks.
I was the one that was saying that they should trade him.
Yeah,
Earlier on.
You wanted
And
him
they
to trade
chose-
everybody.
Right, and that was not because
You were like,
I don't
fire
like
sale.
him.
I hate everybody. Get them all out of
That
here.
isn't what I was saying. But
it's similar. It's adjacent to what you were saying.
No, my thought process was I love DK Metcalf, but you're clearly rebuilding.
Yes.
And a absolute top dollar wide receiver doesn't help you rebuild now to be good in 2 years.
Yeah.
There's flaws in that argument, but that was my thought process.
Mainly
They
the fact
didn't
that
do that.
he should
That
still
he
be
should still be
yeah,
right.
top,
Exactly. Yeah. So, but they didn't do that.
Yeah.
And now the draft has happened. They've given if they think that they're going to get him on a deal, they're wrong. Like, there's no way that he's going to play for below market.
Or would
market
he even
is
play?
crazy.
You mean not a deal, because a deal implies in this situation that they get him to sign anything. You're saying a deal as in
I'm sorry.
a discount.
discount.
They're not
Or-
going to be getting a discount. Like
Gotcha.
I don't understand. To me, there's zero worry that they don't get it done because they at this point don't have a choice. I don't think that they have somebody out there who will
it's
trade them any kind of value for him.
And by them waiting till now, they don't have the leverage of a draft day trade.
Right. That's kind of my thought.
Couldn't you do that next offseason?
You could,
Because
but
you have him through this season.
But you have the question of will he show up and play, or would he do the Le'Veon Bell?
Which-
I'm not going to get hurt.
Which would he show up and play with these quarterbacks and risk plummeting his value? I would advise him not to if he didn't have.
I mean, I don't know if I'd advise him not to because there is money on the line, and on top of that, there's a whole bunch of fine. There's a fine system in place that now the NFL has made it more difficult for teams to forgive those fines. So he actually would lose money.
yeah.
Yeah, but then he
But
sign
health-wise-
a deal for $25-ish million a year.
We've seen one player really do that power move of I'm not going to play 8 years so I can get a big deal. And even though his career stunk after that, he did get some good money out of it.
Yeah,
Also,
that
he
was
did
Bell,
it at
right?
Yeah, Le'Veon
running
Bell.
back,
And he's a
which
running
is-
back, which
is just
it's a totally
ridiculous.
different situation,
Right,
right?
yeah,
I agree.
Like, and that would be the different situation, like when you're talking about like the rebuilding team. If it was a running back, I would say 100% sell.
Right.
Trade him as quick as you can because that dude could get hurt on the first play. But receiver, like, I mean, Calvin Johnson was Calvin Johnson for the Detroit Lions for year after year after year after year.
And then he retired early.
And then he retired early.
Because
But
he
I'm
didn't
saying
have a good
I'm
quarterback.
saying you could wait 2 years for a guy this
No,
young.
yeah, and
Because I think
agree with
DK
you.
is Calvin Johnson, maybe with slightly less jump ball skills,
to me,
which bums me out.
It was just like I thought you're rebuilding. You should trade
Yeah.
all of your best players.
Yep.
And then they didn't, and I was like, okay, I like DK. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
And now they're just.
I know DK's the diva receiver that I could like the most.
Oh, agreed.
You know, like because yeah, he does some diva things that upset me, like dropping the ball or getting caught right before the end zone because he was taunting, stuff like that. But it's rare, and he seems to legitimately get upset with himself over it. Like I feel like Deshaun Jackson was always like, "Oh, can't believe that other guy hustled the whole play." Like that was always the mentality that I got from him.
Yeah, that was bull
or actually,
crap.
Deshaun Jackson he dropped it himself. He didn't even get caught by anybody. He just straight dropped it on
Those
the
other
1
guys
yard
are
line.
just a bunch of
Was it
tryhards.
Deshaun Jackson that did it twice?
What?
Was it Deshaun Jackson that did it twice?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Chad Ochocinco did it in college once for Oregon State, but they didn't have a replay system and they just called it a touchdown. That is burned into my memory because that was a season where that was the Fiesta Bowl season where any loss could have totally just derailed a chance at a national title. And he dropped the ball before he got into the end zone, and I was having a meltdown. But they called it a touchdown.
They couldn't review it.
Oh my gosh. Freaked me out. Don't like it. Oh. Justin, I like your parts of the show. Really, if you weren't on this show, would we have a show?
Yeah, well, yeah, because you guys have done it without me before.
Yeah. But sometimes we make you do all the work anyway. Anyway,
Sometimes there's an expectation that I'll do all the work and then I just don't do it.
that's true.
I mean,
that
happens.
if you don't have Stump Daniel questions, I've got some baseball trivia that I could ask you.
Okay, ask me because
you
I
don't
don't have something well prepared for today.
Okay.
I was actually right before you got here. I was trying to look up a good Mariners trivia.
So I'm not.
I realized I've used a lot of it already.
So is this next part
Stump Justin, I guess.
Justin's favorite part of the show?
Serving questions up on a silver platter where the points are made up and the rules don't matter. Time for Stump Daniel.
Justin.
All right, I'm gonna just turn some of these. This is part of my research into a later part of the show.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna turn some of these into true or false questions.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Hopefully, you know at least the names of all of these players.
Yeah, that's the problem I was having putting together my all-star list.
I think Andrew's team is going to be pretty funny.
Is it really? I'm kind of worried about your team.
Why?
I don't know. The way you drafted fantasy this year, I was just kind of worried that you're just gonna pick Mariners for every player.
No, I was threatening to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He tried and then he realized he couldn't fill out a team with good players at every position.
All right.
I don't appreciate your tone.
True or false? Jackie Robinson.
True.
Jackie Robinson not only was the first player to break the color barrier, but he was also a stud, going to 6 consecutive All-Star games and winning an MVP award.
Did he win an MVP award?
Only 6 consecutive?
I'm going to say that's true.
It is correct. Jackie Robinson made 6 consecutive All-Star teams and won an MVP. He also had a career batting average of .311. His slash line was .311, .409, .474, which is average on base slugging. Right. So
his on base percentage was 100 points higher than his batting average.
yeah, almost .409.
Wow, that's pretty
Discipline.
amazing.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to.
Is that just because he got pegged a lot? Honest question.
Or walked.
or walked? It usually means you have a good eye. But with
Well,
Jackie
no,
Robinson's
that's what I was
case,
saying specifically with Jackie Robinson. I wonder if
if people were beaning him.
Yeah, I have no idea.
that would be an interesting racial study at the time. Ugh, don't like that.
Andrew will look that up and have that information for you
No,
next
I won't.
week, listeners.
All right. What? This isn't gonna be true or false,
Okay.
but I'll give you some hints along the way.
Okay.
What star left fielder
Okay.
once got traded? Was he traded or did he sign? Just a sec. Once got traded to the New York Yankees.
Okay.
And when asked about how he felt about wearing the same uniform as Joe DiMaggio and Mickey Mantle, he said, "I don't care about them. I never saw DiMaggio and Mantle play."
Ricky Henderson.
Yes. Well done. He finished that quote by saying, "It's Ricky time."
Dude, that's the best part about Ricky Henderson is all the stories with the one-liners.
Yeah.
The guy
he's
was
so good.
Isn't he the one
insanely
that made
arrogant.
the phone call?
To Harold Reynolds.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ricky would have had 100. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. All right.
2 for 2.
2 for 2. You're doing pretty well. All right. What pitcher has this feat named after him? So when somebody has a complete game shutout in which you throw less than 100 pitches, that is known as this player's last name. So you throw a complete game shutout, and you do it throwing less than 100 pitches, which is just bonkers.
Called a Johnson.
A Johnson?
Yeah.
What?
I don't actually know the
not a bad-
answer, but
not
I
a bad
just picked
guess.
a common name.
Not a bad guess since there were multiple amazing pitchers named Johnson.
Thank you.
Walter Johnson and Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
But that is false.
Okay.
And it's false because, obviously false because those guys were big power arm strikeout pitchers.
Is it called a Maddox?
It is called a Maddox.
Dang it! How did I not get that?
Greg
That's
Maddux.
embarrassing.
A Maddox is a complete game in which you allow 0 runs and throw fewer than 100 pitches. All told, he is the only pitcher to combine 300 plus wins, 3,000 plus strikeouts, and fewer than 1,000 walks in his career. Just ridiculous. Yeah. Speaking of Greg
And
Maddox,
a lot of poop jokes.
yes. This is another one you should get.
Okay.
Speaking of Greg Maddox, he once said of this player, you just can't do it, Maddox said. Sometimes hitters can pick up differences in spin. They can identify pitches if there are different release points or if a curveball starts with an upward hump as it leaves the pitcher's hand. But if a pitcher can change speeds, every hitter is helpless, limited by human vision. Except for that effing blank blank.
Tony Gwynn.
Yes. Correct. You're doing great at this,
Thank
by the
you.
way. You're doing so good.
I was pretty happy with myself for the Ricky Henderson one.
Okay.
I feel like I should get 2 points for that.
All right. That was a great one, by the way. I was impressed by that one. Now I'm gonna just start making stuff up.
Okay. False.
All right. This player, much maligned, but has broken many records, and I have dubbed him Watermelon Head.
Barry Bonds.
Correct.
4 for 5.
All right. This one's a little tougher.
Okay.
This player is known as one of the all-time greats. He played for the Boston Red Sox. He played left field, and he has a book that he wrote titled "The Science of Hitting." This is a toughie. I gave you a few softballs.
Okay.
So this is a toughie.
You said he played for the Red Sox? Mm-hmm. Like that was his only team or that was his primary team?
Oh. I would have to look up if that was his only
Okay,
team.
okay.
It was,
But
it was
like
a long
that's
time
the
ago.
team that he would be known for
Oh, yeah.
playing for.
Yeah. Now I'm nervous, so I'm going to go look it up just in case.
I'm trying to think of any Red Sox outfielders. And I very rarely have a concept for which outfield position guys play.
Yeah.
So when I thought of
You wouldn't think of this guy playing any other outfield position besides left, I feel like. But yeah, he all Red Sox except for 1943, 44 and 45 in which he was do you want a hint? He was in
Sure.
he was in the military during those 3 years. He was serving in World War II.
I feel like I should know this one. Is it Joe DiMaggio? This is where like the old-timey baseball I get really fuzzy on like which guy is which. And I
wouldn't
mix
be
them
upset.
up a lot.
I wouldn't be upset except for the fact that you picked one of the greatest Yankees of all time as one of the great Red Sox of all time.
Let me try again.
Joe DiMaggio otherwise was a good guess besides the fact because he played
Carl
in the same era.
Yastrzemski.
Wait. Joe DiMaggio didn't play in the same era, I don't think. Wasn't Yastrzemski? That is a better guess. Let me see. When did DiMaggio play? I know that... No, yeah, he played in the same era, and he also had military service during those 3 years.
Okay,
So,
I just got the wrong
Besides
team.
the fact that you picked the wrong team
Okay, well that's a
and
pretty
position,
Yeah, okay.
it's Ted Williams.
Oh yeah, Teddy Williams.
Yes.
Old Ted.
All right, how we doing? Should we do...
He's Old Man Williams' boy.
Old Man Williams. Should we do one more? How are we feeling?
Yeah, sure.
How are we feeling? All right,
Yeah.
one more.
Feeling strong. I just mixed up Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio.
Okay. This player...
There's a survey question for Twitter.
Yeah. Do you ever mix up Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio?
Yeah.
All the young people will be like,
Joe DiMaggio.
Yes, I do.
Whole horse face. All right. This player, this third baseman...
Isn't that John Elway?
horse face?
Yeah.
Old
Yeah,
horse face.
it is. But
Okay.
DiMaggio, in my mind, is not a very good-looking dude, and yet he famously dated Marilyn Monroe, which was always kind of weird.
Very low self-esteem.
All right, here we go. And it might not have even been dated. They might have been married.
Oh.
I have to look that one up. Anyway, all right. This third baseman, Justin, had a run at batting 400 in 1980. but he might be most well known for his massive blow up when it was found that he had too much pine tar on his bat, or his pine tar went too high up on his bat, thus voiding a home run and getting him kicked out of the game.
Whoa.
Yeah.
A side note, that's the kind of thing that they should have to point out before the at bat, in my opinion. Like, the umpires shouldn't be able to look at the bat afterwards and be like, "Oh no, that was just terrible. You can't have a home run."
I can understand that. You can be like, it's too late.
Yeah, it's
you have
too
to
late.
do that
It's too
before
bad.
the next at bat.
Yeah.
I could understand that, but that's not
then
how it was done.
Yeah,
would
no,
the
I-
umpire
yeah.
have to inspect every bat before everyone?
Oh no, it's on. I think Andrew's wanting an appeal basis because that's what happened in this situation. The other team was like, "Hey, you need to check his bat. I think the pine tar's up too high."
Right. In which case, yeah, you can't use that bat anymore. But it's already been used. The home run got hit.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I could see either
just
way.
A side,
Yeah.
like, it just occurred to me.
How about this? The home run counts, but you only get half a run.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
or half as many runs were on base at the time.
What year did you say?
I said in 1980 he made a run at batting 400, but he is almost most well known for his eruption after having too much pine tar on his bat. Third base.
Is it George Brett?
It is George. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
That concludes. You definitely ended up in the Tar Heel zone. Did you get one wrong? I think you
I
only
got
got
two. I got.
You got Ted Williams wrong, and
I feel like I got another one wrong.
Oh,
it was Johnson.
It was Johnson.
Yeah, I got Johnson wrong.
I still feel like you
Maddox. He got Maddox wrong.
Yeah.
He guessed
Yeah.
Johnson.
I love a good Johnson. You know.
Johnsonville brat.
Yeah.
Rescue that from where that was headed.
What do you mean?
Anyway, I'm proud of you. You did a good job. You ended up in the Tar Heel zone. The most impressive ones were the Ricky Henderson and George Brett.
I had like I don't really remember a ton about George Brett, but I had like George Brett pine tar incident. I don't know the incident, but I had those words in my head, and I was like, okay, I think that's it.
Yeah.
And 80 would have been around
There-
the time frame. I
there's
almost
that
said Reggie
great-
Jackson,
Ooh.
but I don't think he ever batted that high of an average.
And he was an outfielder.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, there's that video is like ingrained in my head of him storming up out of the dugout and onto the field, like just raging mad, like sprinting at the umpire. You think he's gonna literally just lower his shoulder and tackle the dude. Like, it is like, whoa, that is somebody let a bull out of the dugout. Anyway,
Yeah.
that was Stump Justin, brought to you by the law office of Jeffrey A. Domashevitz.
No relation.
What's the A stand for? Now it's time for poll results, which
Yeah.
we don't have imaging for yet, and yet this might be my favorite part of the show.
We had a lot of.
Daniel's favorite
This
part
is
of the
way
show.
up there. Although it's becoming less and less so because I keep finding myself as part of the poll.
I think he started out liking that. That's probably why it's his favorite.
Yeah.
part.
I chickened out on tagging Haley Van Lith in the polls.
I'm still waiting for it. I think
I did it. Like, I typed it out.
You did?
Like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I didn't send it. So we're going to do that in the future.
Are we? And she's just gonna scroll back and see like 100 poll results where she's challenging me in a food eating contest.
I'll just go put a reply on all of them and just tag her in all of them so she can see.
She's gonna be like, "Why would I try and beat this guy to the bathroom?" That seems like a very oddly specific race.
Why would I be having a
Haley,
radio
you wouldn't-
broadcast contest against this guy?
You wouldn't have to try. You would just beat him by default.
Hey,
This isn't his prime. All right. First poll. Would Ken Griffey Jr. be good at serving up popcorn at the ballpark, or would he pull a hamstring walking up the stairs?
Sean had the correct answer here.
Sean said, here, I'll read it because it was a little hurtful. He said, the two aren't mutually exclusive. Be better. Which I pointed out, this is actually kind of what Daniel said. He would pull a hamstring, but he'd get the job done. Well, 63% of the audience said he'd be good at serving up popcorn.
yep, delicious.
Next poll. Who's a better lockdown defender? Prime Daniel Hargrove or Haley Van Lith?
I like how I was all interested. Like I forgot. I voted in this poll. I voted in it, and yet I forgot and was like, "Oh, we're talking about lockdown defenders, are we? Oh crap! It's another bait and switch Haley Van Lith question."
Well, 82% of the audience went with Haley.
No,
82% of the audience went with Haley.
82. She's not even known for her defense. I am most offended about this one than any other one.
Even the radio broadcast?
Even the radio one.
Next poll. Did Peyton Hillis save your fantasy season that 1 year?
Nope, he didn't.
Well,
It was a lie.
this has never happened before. 100% of the audience said no.
Nope,
Peyton
'cause
Hillis did not save their fantasy season that 1 year.
I voted on that one. No,
Justin, give it a few more weeks. Daniel will forget, and then he'll answer yes again.
Did we ever find out if Jamal Charles was who I was thinking about as
Which
saving my
leads
fantasy?
perfectly into our next question. Do you ever mix up Peyton Hillis and Jamal Charles? Because I can't, as far as just an optical standpoint,
No.
I can't think of two very different humans from each other.
No, they're very
They
different.
look very different.
Run different, play the game differently.
Yeah, they're very different.
Better success rates for one than the other.
They're both.
One actually gets injured. The other one just says he's sick to stop playing.
They're both football players.
They are both football players.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Well, 89% of the audience has never mixed up Peyton Hillis and Jamal Charles. I'm guessing the other 11% was you.
Or did they just not read it?
No, I think I voted in that one.
Okay, here's a good one. I actually really like the results of this one. Did Madden 2001...
Wait. They both have first name, last names. Ooh. No, wait, Peyton Hillis. Hillis isn't a first name. Never mind. I thought of something there, but no, that's
Well,
not.
you got 3 out of 4?
Yeah.
Peyton, Jamal, and Charles are all first names.
Never mind. That was stupid.
Did Madden 2001 have a dope soundtrack? And as Andrew pointed out to me on Twitter, it is not what I described. But when I listened to the songs on it, I was like, oh, this is totally what I was thinking of.
Okay.
64% of the audience said yes, Madden 2001 did have a dope soundtrack.
I thought it did, and then Andrew pointed that out, and then I was like, oh, shoot, I Peyton Hillis'd this.
Well, I honestly thought that I was like, oh, crap. I really did with that what Daniel did with Peyton Hillis. I remembered it really differently from the way that it actually was. Because I said it was like a mix of original music and other good songs, and it actually was just 4 original songs.
Which is what they started doing in was it 2004 or 2003? That they actually started having a soundtrack with a bunch of songs.
I remember I can't remember if it was 2004. I think that was the game that I played the most. That was the Vic cover, right? Yeah.
Speaking of the
that
Vic
one
cover,
did that one have the Tech 9 song, Beast on it? Because I have that song, running in repeat while I'm, on Madden menus.
I'm not sure if I know that song.
Is it Tech 9? No, wait. Maybe it's... Duh. It's got that really low voice. Almost that strong, bad voice.
Oh.
And I just have the thought of
Are you
playing...
sure it's not
do you remember the
strong, bad?
mini camps? Do you remember the little mini camp
Yeah.
drills that you would do? I just have this ingrained memory of doing the running back mini camp where you're running and you got those little movable things, and then
Yep.
there's 2 linebackers, and then that song being played where it's ba da 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 da, and I can't remember the words that he's saying.
Oh.
But it's ingrained in my memory. Besides the words, apparently.
You're not sure what Madden it was?
I think it was 2004. But the other Madden game I had, I think, was 2007. Those were the 2 I played a ton.
Speaking of Madden 2004, our next poll question. Was Michael Vick basically a cheat code in Madden 2004?
Yes.
100% of the audience.
Another 100%.
Doesn't happen very often.
No.
But 100% of the audience said yes.
They were right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next poll question. What is Jared Kelenic? Is he a top prospect,
He's injured.
a topper prospect, or a top-est prospect?
I think I voted top prospect.
You, along with 48% of people, voted a top prospect. 33% of people said a top-est prospect, and 19% said a topper prospect.
I said topper prospect because I always vote the middle one when it's stupid, like made up things, just as a general thing.
Which is a better name for a hockey team?
This one I feel like probably got close to 100%.
Steelhead,
Yeah, it's a solid one.
Cosmopolitans,
Not great.
or Metropolitans.
Better than Cosmopolitans.
Which, if you missed it, when Daniel was doing the Stump Daniel segment and trying to guess the name of that hockey team from
Did I
1917,
say Cosmopolitans?
you said
Yeah.
Cosmopolitans with
and I agreed with you.
Andrew's assistance.
Yeah.
It actually was the Metropolitans, but Steelhead won this poll at 56%. Surprisingly, 38% said no, Metropolitans is better, and 6% said we like Cosmopolitans.
Those people are from Kazi.
Probably.
Which, though, if you were a true Kazi person, you would want termites to be on there.
Who would win in a game of blitzball? Prime
I
Daniel
don't
Hargrove.
like where this is going.
Prime Daniel Hargrove or Haley Van Lith? Well, Daniel, 67% of our audience said Haley Van Lith would beat you in a game of blitzball. They have a lot more confidence in her athletic abilities than in Prime Daniel Hargrove's.
This is so frustrating.
Yeah, I think that those people may... See, I think of Haley Van Lith, I'm like, okay, to get where she got, she was a very serious athlete.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't see there being a lot of goofing off, wiffle ball stuff going on in her life. And I'm coming at this with almost no knowledge. So you know you're getting the best information from me.
Yes.
As
you
But I
tainted.
do
it's
know
not tainted by knowledge.
for a fact that Prime Daniel Hargrove played a lot of wiffle ball with a lot of people throwing some crazy goofy pitches and throwing as hard as they possibly could.
Yeah. And with the little golf-sized wiffle balls.
Yeah. So I feel, I mean, man, you should have won radio broadcast contest.
I would hope so.
You maybe should have had a shot at lockdown defender.
I would think so.
But the blitzball thing, like, come on, people.
Yeah.
They don't know.
they don't know.
They
just
don't know the prestige of Daniel's sports goofing off abilities.
Very high.
Yeah.
Very high. Some would say I was so good at sports goofing off that that's what led to me being a good contact hitter in real life.
Some are saying that.
Me, personally.
but
I would say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. These poll results continue to be vastly entertaining to me and also vastly disappointing. Like both.
Yeah, I got 2 Daniel Hargrove versus Haley Van Lith polls in this week.
We did also have a request for another Daniel Hargrove versus a collegiate athlete.
Yeah, see, okay, this is actually, I'm glad we're here. So I want to talk about this, but before we talk about it, I think we're at a point where we should probably take a commercial break. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to tell you a story about something that happened at a Tacoma Rainiers game that really reminded me of our show and the way we feel about our listeners.
Oh, no.
But first, let's take a quick commercial break. Do you have a legal situation and need someone on your side? Let the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz be your advocate. If you've been the victim of medical malpractice, suffered a personal injury, or need representation with real estate law, small business law, or estate planning, let Jeff Damashevitz put his 29 years of experience to work for you. Call Jeff Damashevitz today at 360-612-3991 or visit damashevitzlaw.com. That's DAMASIEWICZLAW.com.
And we're back. Thank you so much to our sponsors, the Law Office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz and Ole Penn Real Estate, the sponsor of our Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week. Justin,
Yeah.
where are we going?
I'm trying to
You're
find
looking for stuff.
Okay, so here,
Yeah.
I got this tweet.
Yep.
This was from a friend of mine, but her Twitter account is set to private, so I don't know how many people would have been able to see the tweet.
Okay.
But after looking at our poll questions, she tweeted, I just want to know who would hit more home runs in college softball. Jocelyn, is it Alo or Alo?
Either way, she's a beast.
Yeah, or Prime Daniel Hargrove. So I was like, okay, this would be a really good question. So I threw it out there in our group chat, and I want to know if the response that I got from you was serious or was it kind of tongue-in-cheek. So what you said was, first off, that girl had 34 bombs in a 60-game season. Why were they pitching to her? Which is a very good question. And in fact, after you said it this week, I heard analysts on the ESPN podcast going, why is anyone pitching to her? She was also batting like 700.
No, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ludicrous what she's doing.
But Daniel went on to say,
Uh-oh. This is where I get myself in trouble.
but also their fences are little league range. So after about 5 games of going 0 for whatever, I think I could figure it out enough to hit a pop-up a game. Although I would have to stay healthy for a season, and then you laugh. So basically you were saying, give me 5 games and assume I stay healthy. And yeah, I think I could hit more home runs than her in my prime.
Wouldn't they stop pitching to you eventually?
No, apparently
they
not.
don't. I'm saying they
Apparently
don't.
not. So this is my gripe more with collegiate fast pitch. I think their fences are too short for their players. Because I think their players are better than they literally play with 200-foot fences, Justin. They literally have longer fences at the Little League World Series with 12-year-olds. I think that's a problem with their fields. So yeah, I think I could hit a bunch of home runs.
You said
if I stayed healthy.
Pop up a game. So that was an exaggeration for comedy?
It was a bit of an exaggeration, but it's on average. There would be some games where I would hit 3 pop-ups.
Okay.
But
in a 60
and notice I also put in the caveat of I wouldn't hit well immediately. Because
It would take 3 games.
I said 5 games.
5 games.
And I'm assuming 5 games, and that's spread across, 3 weeks? 2 weeks? So I'm getting practice time every day in between of learning how to hit the pitches coming from that angle. Because I'm going to say it's different, and it takes a little bit of a different style of hitting than I would be used to. So it would take a lot of practice, but I know that I have good bat-to-ball skills, and I know that I have a decent ability to pop up. And I know that my pop-ups go roughly 100 feet past a normal infield. So I think I'd have a good shot at it.
I believe in your athletic abilities.
Pop-ups might fly differently because it's a different ball.
That's true, but I play slow pitch.
Yeah, which
So-
is also a different ball.
That's true.
I'm not arguing against you. I was just thinking
I might have to
thinking
learn
of other things.
I might have to learn. Maybe their ball's softer. You know,
be.
maybe it compresses more instead of that hard ball that flies farther. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's why the fences are so short, and I'm way off on this one. So I'll put that caveat in there.
Okay.
But man, they play in small fields. It does lead to a fun brand of fast-paced infield game, though. Those girls playing third base are insane. They play like 5 feet from home plate. It's bonkers.
I do love the fact
That's a slight exaggeration.
Sometimes, though, no, sometimes they literally run into like 10 feet. Okay, 5 was an exaggeration. But they'll literally come into like 5 feet, and then a slap hitter will be like, nope, not bunting, and then yank one right at their face. And you're like, oh my gosh.
Sounds exciting.
It is.
It is. I enjoy
It's not.
watching.
It is a completely different game, and it is a fun, fast-paced game.
Yeah.
without arguing either side.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you have the confidence in yourself
I have confidence.
and in your baseball, softball abilities.
Yes.
That you would say, with some amount of ramp up in practice, that you could hit more home runs than potentially one of the few greatest players in collegiate softball history.
It sounds ridiculous when it's put that way.
Someone who's been working on the craft conceivably since she was about 4 years old.
Yes.
And possesses a supreme level of athletic ability in her field.
But see, you are saying that she has been working on her craft since she was 4 years old.
Okay, so
I also worked on a very similar craft
And
of
Daniel's
hitting
older.
of hitting a ball with a bat since I was 4 years old.
Okay.
Now
And now he's older.
and I'm
so
saying
he's had
this is
more
prime
practice.
but also this is prime me, right?
Oh, okay.
So this
Okay.
is me when I was also in college.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same amount of work being put into practicing hitting a ball. Exactly like these. It's slightly different, but this is very similar. I also put in the same amount of work, maybe a little less.
That's why he's
Maybe
so
a little more. Who
dominant
knows?
at
Because
golf.
but we were just talking about how you were great at goofball sports.
At golf, that's
Yeah.
funny. Who wrote that in? Did you write that
I
in?
just said it.
Oh,
I just
there
said
you
that's
And
why
Andrew
he
wrote
said
it in with his voice.
I didn't. I'm sorry. I did not give you the credit of coming up with that. But no, see, that's the thing. So I also put in a ton of work into hitting a ball with a bat.
Well, you
And I also
were really
was
good
really good at it.
You were really good in high school, and then you played baseball in college. Yeah, no, I'm not trying to demean your credentials at all.
Okay.
What I'm more interested in is how many stolen bases would you get playing with those shorter?
I don't know.
the
I
shorter
don't,
base
I don't know
paths?
how the rules work.
I don't know
You
either.
have you can't leave the base until the ball crosses the plate.
Oh,
If it crosses the plate, I don't.
so you can't lead off.
No,
Definitely can't lead off.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's when it leaves the pitcher's hand or when it crosses the plate, because I feel like that would make a difference.
Yeah.
I feel like I would be up there with the greats.
Is when you say how many bases would you steal? Is all the bases an option,
Maybe.
including home?
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, home is a plate. It's not a base.
Oh, good point.
That was a trick question.
It's a dish, though. Are
It's
they
like
all dishes?
is your thumb a finger? You know.
Yeah, I don't know. So
That's all.
I'm gonna throw this in there because some people might think that I'm just being sexist in this. I also think that I could pop up in Major League Baseball sometimes.
And you watch Major League Baseball, and this is a no BS
And that
thing. You watch
that is
Major League
also
Baseball, and you think I'd be better at defense than that guy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that happens.
He thinks that literally every game.
There was a play in the Rainiers game where
Not every game.
there was a play in the Rainiers game where their second baseman, whose name I already can't remember, he makes an incredible play, really hard hit line drive, takes a one hop to him. He goes over, he scoops it, sliding scoop, makes the turn, makes the throw to second to get the lead runner. It was incredible.
Nice play, yeah.
And immediately following that, tried to track a really high pop up into like shallow right center field.
Ooh, that's a
and
tough
fell
play.
over trying to catch it and missed it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. And then at the end of the game, which,
Are we moving on to the?
I was gonna say I'm good at those plays, by the way.
yeah,
The catching pop-ups from second base.
Yeah.
Like of my defensive plays, that was like one of my favorites.
yeah,
It is a tough play though.
agreed. Yeah. Oh, and then it's like it's kind of windy, and so I know the ball's not coming down straight. It's got these weird spin on it because of the way the guy hit it.
Yeah.
and it's flying out towards right field. And meanwhile, the right fielder Justin Upton is just like standing out there, not even making any attempt to try to go towards and make the catch on this ball. And this poor second baseman just flapping in the breeze like, oh, and then he falls over backwards and misses it. And it was one of those things too where like,
That's good to hear about Justin Upton, that he's just completely uninterested in playing defense.
dude, he was so bad.
great.
He was 0 for 6 in the game. He's batting like 125.
Oh no.
He looks terrible.
great. And Jared Conley got hurt.
Yeah.
Great.
I don't know how
Do we know
serious.
any information about
I
that?
don't. I tried to look it up and I couldn't find anything. It was a leg injury. He was legging out an infield single in his third at bat.
But he was
And
safe.
He was safe.
Okay.
Yeah, he beat it out. It was just a little dribbler down the first baseline, and he pretty much beat the pitcher
Yeah.
to the ball and made it to first. But then it could have been a hamstring, just kind of the way he was like hunched over and where he was grabbing the back of his leg. But I couldn't find any more information on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Shoot.
But I will say that when I was there with my 12-year-old son,
Yeah.
and he just has kind of like a harsh way of talking about athletes. And
sounds like somebody we know.
so when I feel like I'm much milder than he is. He's very blamey.
okay.
So that second baseman makes that error, and I was trying to explain to him like when the ball goes super high like that and it's got spin on it, it's drifting. Like it's not
Yeah.
just coming straight down. And he's
like, yeah, I've played baseball.
and
Dad.
then it's a good point. But right as I was trying to tell him that, then this guy who had apparently had one too many beers is walking down by where we are, going up to every person and going, "You would have caught that. You would have caught that. You would have caught that," to everybody that was like standing on the fence at the game.
Wow.
That's
That's more than
reinforcing.
one too many beers.
Yeah.
Because
So-
that's the type of bravery to talk to complete strangers
Yeah.
that nobody should have.
And then at the end of the game,
Yeah.
the ninth inning ended in a tie, and my son was like, "If the second baseman would have just caught that pop up, they wouldn't have scored those 2 runs. We would have won right here."
Yep.
I was like, I mean, it's hard to argue with that.
Yeah.
Also, if Upton makes any kind of effort to get towards the ball where it was, he could have easily gotten there and would have had a much easier play than a guy trying to run into the outfield to get it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, they're minor leaguers. Like, it's not the same as watching a major league game.
It's just different, right?
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
And it's still a fun game to watch.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah. Are we to that point of the show where we're talking about
do we have any local sports? Because that's actually the next thing on the agenda.
I don't have any local sports. I do have an athlete of the week.
Okay, let's do that now.
Okay. Do you have any before?
No.
You also have someone who might be nominated after I say who mine is.
Okay.
This week's, or at least my nomination for this week's Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week, it was a nomination that I received
Okay.
from my own brain.
Okay. So this nomination is from Daniel Hargrove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Anchor Hargrove.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He-
No relation.
No relation.
What's the A stand for? Oh yeah, Anchor.
He turned 1 yesterday,
Oh, okay.
and I gotta say, knows how to walk and carry a ball at the same time.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
I've gotten an update on Kelnick. The only
You're
there's no
interrupting
official-
my
yeah.
son being the athlete of the week for a Kelnick update?
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
He's not in the lineup today with the hamstring, but there's no news about the severity of the injury. So the assumption is that he just tweaked it a little bit.
He
He'll
I mean,
be back.
He walked off the field. It wasn't
Okay.
like
Well,
he
yeah,
had
but
to be-
hamstring you can walk great.
Yeah, but if it's really bad, then it's hard to walk.
Really?
even.
Okay.
Yeah.
You would know better than me.
Yeah.
I just know hamstrings are one of those things that you think you're completely fine, and then you try to sprint, and you're like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, on the recovery.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. So, do you have any other?
No.
No.
No, I want to hear the rest of the
So not only can he
Yeah.
walk and carry a ball at the same time, a tennis ball, by the way,
At the same time.
full size sports ball of some kind.
Okay, yeah.
He has also learned how. I'm trying to think of something else he learned how to do recently. No, so we got this new toy where there's just this little like coin slot opening, and he can put the coins into that slot.
Oh.
He did it
Okay.
within
He's learning
1 minute
shapes.
of being shown how to do it.
Nice.
Only once.
Nice.
Yeah. And
That's pretty big.
it is pretty big. I was pretty impressed.
Yeah.
And this is another good one. I will take him outside of our house, and we have chickens at our place, and I'll go, Anchor, where's the chickens? And he'll look over and he'll point to where the chickens are.
Okay. So
with those three
he
things,
can walk
beat the
and hold
chickens
the
in a
ball.
race yet?
what?
Can he beat the chickens in a race yet?
Nobody could probably beat me in a race right
he-
now.
Can he catch the chickens?
No, chickens are fast,
Okay.
or at least quick.
Yeah.
He's not quite to.
Okay.
I'll let you know when he's catching
All
chickens.
So
giving
Anchor
him a week.
Hargrove,
Yeah.
who can walk and hold a tennis ball at the same time.
Yep.
Put-
And a bat. He's got a little.
And a bat?
He's got a little bat that he
That's
walks
a-
around with, and he
That's
doesn't.
an added element.
Yeah, and he doesn't hit himself every time.
Okay, but sometimes.
Sometimes.
Just not every time.
He hits
Would
me
you
with
say
it
more?
sometimes too.
Okay, that's
Which
actually.
I feel like that's a bonus.
you get points for that.
Yeah, he's got me in the
that-
noggin once.
Okay.
He came walking by and literally, it looked a little too on purpose. Like he came waddling over and then got to me and went dunk on the head.
Courtney's
Okay.
in the other room working with him on it.
Yeah.
I think this is great. He
Yeah.
can walk and hold a ball. He can hold a bat. He can put coins in a thing.
Yep.
And he can point to chickens.
Yep.
I think that's all the qualifications for Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week.
If that doesn't meet the criteria, I don't know what does.
Yeah. And I mean, 14, 15 years
pushing
from
for a
now, we
bucket
can give it
getter.
to him again.
Yeah.
When he hits 400 in a baseball season.
I mean, that's some pretty big shoes to live up to.
Didn't you
I'm
hit
not
400 in a baseball season?
Yes. Actually, yes. I don't want to put that kind of pressure on him, though.
Okay.
I mean, what if he's more?
350?
What if he's more of a home run hitter?
Good point. You're right. You don't hit 400, but you do hit 10 dingers.
You hit
Yeah.
dingers. You know,
Okay.
I never hit any dingers.
Yeah.
So,
Well, in softball, you have.
well, yeah.
That counts still.
Yeah. Does it?
Counts.
If it doesn't count, then nothing I've done counts. So
I've hit
I'm
inside
counting it.
I did hit inside the park, but never in a high school game, I don't think. Had some triples. Yeah. So, Ole Penn Real Estate Athlete of the Week, Anchor Hargrove,
I love it.
for his ability to carry things and point at chickens.
You know why?
Congratulations, Anchor. Good job.
Yeah.
Your hard work is finally paid off.
One of the reasons that I love it so much is that it'll be a really easy graphic to make because I have access to a ton of pictures of it.
Yes, you do. But
You guys will have to take one with him holding a ball.
okay, I can do that.
And yeah, then we'll make it look
sure.
official.
Pretty sure I got
And
one.
the
but-
bat.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have one holding both.
Or we
Yeah.
could have a picture of
level.
him holding a ball and a bat and or hitting you with the bat.
That would be ideal.
Okay.
Yeah. It is a break in local sports though, so we're excited when we start seeing some of the summer things start happening.
At some point soon, there will be some Little League All-Star tournaments going on, and I'm assuming we'll have some athletes there.
Yeah.
Also, if we get updates from summer high school sports, we'll be happy to share them, and maybe
Yep.
something really cool will happen.
Do we know anything? What we need to take a look at too here soon is NCAA track meets. Because we do have, like Tara Novi down at USC doing some good things, she might be
Carly
graduated.
Freeman.
I was thinking of Carly
Tara
Freeman.
Novi's
graduated,
yeah.
right? Yeah, I was thinking of Carly Freeman.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And Jordan Spradlin, I haven't followed her competition, but she's in her final year
at Oregon.
So, go Beavs.
Go Beavs.
Yeah.
All right. So now we are going
I got
What
one more
happened?
thing.
What happened here?
Something happened during the Rainiers game. I took my son to
The
a
second
Rainiers
baseman
game.
missed a pop up.
I know.
That too.
Geez, that's a little bit harsh for what you put on.
We were
here.
there yesterday. Well, what I put in the show sheet was Tacoma Rainiers say "screw you" to fans, and what they did really reminded me of like
Something you would
"screw
do.
you, listeners." Like it's my
Yeah.
catchphrase, right? And I was like, "Hey, Tacoma Rainiers, you're stealing my thing." They have throughout the whole game, they're doing all kinds of fun stuff. Like they have like a guy whose job is to wear a suit and go
They still
around
have
the-
that guy?
Yeah, yeah. And there's
He's
a
hilarious.
There's a gorilla that plays the saxophone.
Nice.
And he was in my section, like 3 rows behind me. I took a little video of it. Like there's just festivity all over throughout the whole game.
Minor league games are awesome.
At one of the in between inning breaks, they said, "Hey, we're gonna use a crowd cheering meter to see which song you guys want to hear. We're either gonna play Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody, or Billy Joel, Uptown Girl."
Okay.
So they say, if you want to hear Whitney Houston, cheer. And there's like, a pretty good cheer. If you want to hear Billy Joel, cheer. And like everybody just starts going nuts and cheers. And it's obvious who the winner is. And they go, "All right, we're going to play Whitney Houston. I Want to Dance with Somebody." And we were all like, what is going on here? That's not what the people wanted. And I was like, that was just them being like, screw you, fans. We're going to play the song you don't want to hear.
There's not even any debate.
No.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
That's awesome. And you said that they lost in extra innings, right?
Yeah, so they had it was still I thought it was still really fun because like the game was very eventful. Some of the events were good and some were bad. There were home runs, there were errors, there were miscues. There was some really bad pitching. I think I told you there was 16 pitchers used between the two teams. The Rainiers used
Seems
9.
like a lot.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that was all, but like basically their starter went 2 innings and they were just switching out every inning, new pitcher. And I'm assuming it's just like, hey, this is a farm system. We got to make sure we know which guys, put them out there to see which guys are good and which guys aren't.
I wonder if that was for a specific reason.
It might have been.
Did Brash pitch?
No.
Oh. that
No,
stinks.
he
What
didn't.
about, no, I don't think,
I didn't-
Hancock's playing for
I
the
didn't
Double A
recognize very many of the names. The starter was named Ponce de Leon.
team. Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and he
Wasn't
went.
he from like the 1400s?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he wasn't very good. He
Oh.
went 2 innings and he like walked a few guys, but he only allowed 1 run, and so I was still a little surprised when he got yanked after 2.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
that's
it's
what,
just a bullpen day.
yeah, it might have been just a bullpen day. But so it was very eventful. But
Yeah.
in the bottom of the 9th inning, the Rainiers were down by 5. And it was kind of at that breaking point. Like this game's already been over 3 hours. It was 9-4.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pitching changes, a lot of stuff that just made the game take a long
Do they
time.
have the pitch clock?
Yeah, they do have
They
the
do
pitch
have the
counter.
pitch
Yeah.
clock? Okay.
And it seemed to be like every time I was paying attention, the pitchers were actually pitching within the time
Nice.
allotted. I also heard there's a rule that they're not allowed to throw a pickoff to first more than 3 times.
Oh, is that in AAA now?
Yeah.
I knew they were thinking about that, so that makes sense that it's in the minor leagues.
How do you do that? Like if you throw 3 pickoff moves, the runner can just do whatever he wants.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thought. Is it really makes you think about how many pickoffs you can throw, because if you get to 3, then the runner knows, hey, no matter what, he's going. I assume that if he leaves early,
They'd
then-
still be able to turn. And
then they'd still be able to do that. But
Or would you
I'm
have
not
to
positive.
go to the? Would you have to go to the
do a quick
base
pitch to
ahead?
the home? Well, yeah, I'm assuming you'd have to go to the base ahead
So
but
you
you'd
couldn't
want
throw
to
back
anyway.
Right. Okay.
If they left over,
if they were going hard, I got you.
yeah.
Yeah, but so anyway, there was the bottom of the 9th inning. The Rainiers scored 5 runs, including they scored 3. The guy that played second base that got the error was one of the guys who drove in runs and then scored a run. But the 9th inning, the hit that tied it was a 2-run home run, and so it was really exciting. It was like, oh, we're out of this game, and like a bunch of people left, and a bunch of other people were really contemplating, including myself, should we go, should we stay, like what's going on here? And I was like, no, I've never left a game early ever in my life, and I'm not going to start now.
Yeah.
And we were having a good time, so it was like, let's just stay. And then they ended up scoring the 5 runs to extend the game, so it was really fun. And then they immediately turned around and allowed 5 runs in the top of the 10th inning. And then they did hit a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 10th, but didn't get any closer than that. So they lost. But it was a really fun experience.
I think you would recommend it.
100%.
Yeah, I would too. Rainiers games are so much fun.
If you have kids too, it was Little League night, so there was an insane amount of kids there. I think there would normally be less.
Okay.
But if you have kids, it's such an awesome play. Like it's a pretty small enclosed space.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's not huge like T-Mobile Park where you have to worry about losing your kids somewhere.
Yeah.
But there's a really nice playground with a soft, spongy texture at the bottom. There's a wiffle ball field where kids are over there taking turns playing, pitching and hitting to each other in a little makeshift wiffle ball game. I think it would be just a really fun family day to go in. It's a little cheaper than a Mariners game.
Yes, and closer.
Yeah.
I'm going on Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah. With my dad.
Oh, for Father's Day?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Should be fun.
Oh.
And I was glad we got to see Kellenick. I was bummed that he got hurt, but it was still good to be able to see him.
Were there any other names that you recognized or players that you were like, wow, that guy might be a future Mariner at some point?
Not really. Okay. Like the cleanup hitter who had an Irish name that now I can't remember. O'Shea or O'Day or O'Malley or O'Sullivan or something like that.
One of those.
I noticed his stats were really good, but I also read his bio, and he looks like one of those like career AAA guys, like a Bucky Jacobson type that maybe at some point maybe he'll get to jump up, but everybody knows he's not really good enough to play in the majors. But there was a guy that played for the other team named Saleh that hit 2 dingers, and one of them was just a gargantuan blast in the 10th inning.
So after you went, I saw a post from M's player development that said, we hit 6 homers or 4 homers last night. And I was like, oh, last night? Yeah, that was posted a few days ago. But Kellenick hit one that...
Gotcha.
Is it the Rainiers field that has the batter's eye, that big green wall in center field? Is there a really tall green wall in the center field?
Center field's really deep. I don't think there's a super tall wall. Not that I recall. There's a big jumbotron screen out there.
It must have been a different field then, because the center field was 420, and then there's this big giant like green fence behind it.
I think that's how far it is.
And
maybe
he hit
that is
it over that thing. So
anyway, but anyway, Tacoma Rainiers, highly recommended. They hate their fans.
All right, we only have
mailbag left,
but we do have a fun mailbag.
Be a doozy.
Yeah, we have a fun mailbag segment coming up, where we're going to argue about who the best is.
And we actually all put effort into this.
Super weird. Coming up right after this break.
At Ole Pen Real Estate, we have solidified our foundation on 4 core values. First, we continuously focus on growing our knowledge in the market and in our practices to bring the highest level of competency to our clients. Second, we provide a high level of integrity, compassion, and kindness in every aspect of our business. Third, we put the human element above business through humor, enthusiasm, and patience. And last but not least, we proactively respond to the needs of our clients. Our mission is to create a personal real estate experience, one person and one home at a time. With Ole Pen, it's personal.
All right, thank you to our sponsors, Ole Pen Real Estate, the sponsor of our Ole Pen Real Estate Athlete of the Week, and the law office of Jeffrey A. Damashevitz, the sponsor of our Stump Daniel segment that we do every week as well. And now it is time for...
the mailbag.
Yes, the mailbag.
Send us your stuff in a mailbag.
We do have some commentary from Francis on YouTube.
Is it nice?
This is This is a well. It's nice for us, Justin.
Okay.
Wait a second.
He says
Nice
no.
for us.
He says no one in Seattle is Megatron. Daniel's meds are still affecting his judgment. Apparently,
I didn't
roll
say
eye emoji.
I didn't say he was.
He did say.
I put a major caveat there.
Although,
Gosh.
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I put a big caveat there,
You said he wasn't as good at going up to get the ball,
which is a huge part of.
and indisputably true. He is not as good at going up to get the ball as Calvin Johnson was.
Yet.
Well, we had. See, I think that's been one of the frustrations is we haven't really seen him try
Given the
that
ability
much.
to do it a lot. Yeah.
I mean, like, there's been a couple times where there's a jump ball, but
opportunity.
there hasn't been that many. So
Yeah.
maybe he can do it, and we just haven't got a chance to see it yet.
Maybe this year with the crap quarterbacks just going because that's the thing is Calvin Johnson. That was the only option they had, so they would just chuck it up to him in triple coverage. Maybe we'll see Geno Smith and Drew Lock and everybody else just
Baker
start
Mayfield
just throwing up the pass. Okay, if that's going to happen, it needs to happen already.
It needs to happen pretty darn soon.
Or Gardner Minshew,
Yeah, that's not gonna
or
happen.
one of these.
The Eagles know who they've got.
Or one of the, or one of the freaking undrafted free agents that we're not hearing anything about, which bums me out.
You always stand up for the little guy. I like
I
it.
do, but that's how we ended up with Russell Wilson. I mean, I guess that was a 3rd round pick, but still, everybody was not expecting that.
You're always the, hey, everyone, Alex Smith is better than you think. Kirk Cousins.
And he was. Kirk Cousins makes a lot of money.
I feel like you have it in you that you're like, this guy doesn't get the respect he deserves.
To give Kirk Cousins the credit
or the
he des-
chance.
or
They
the
don't get the
chance.
chance they deserve.
I feel at least Kirk Cousins doesn't talk about just wanting nothing but to win. Like he clearly is like, well, if you're not going to pay me, then I'll go somewhere else to get paid.
Exactly.
I mean, whether
All
it's
the other
Alex
quarterbacks
Smith
are
or
like, I just want to win.
Yeah.
All
Kirk
of
Cousins
the money. Thank
or
you. Yes.
old Danny McCoy.
Oh, Danny
You're always
McCoy.
standing up for the little guy.
Yeah, that one didn't work out very well. Who else? I feel like there's plenty of others.
I
options
can't
there.
come up with them in my head, but the other day I was legitimately thinking of this on my own. I was like, Daniel really is the guy who's like if there's a quarterback that everyone looks at him and goes, nope, that's a 2nd-tier quarterback, but he fits into this mold, Daniel will be like, that guy's better than you think, and he doesn't get the respect he deserves.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, there you go. There's another one that's perfect.
Yeah. Ryan Tannehill.
Tannehill,
And he
yeah.
kind of worked out.
Yeah. Wasn't quite as good this past year as he was the year before, but they've been successful.
Vince Oh.
No. No. He's the opposite of your kind of guy, I feel.
Yeah, that's true. He was more hype.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
on to baseball. Who wants to do theirs first?
Do you want me to do mine first because I don't have anything to say about them and I just picked this list?
Sure.
Did you
So
structure
you guys can just make
yours
fun of me?
in a lineup like thoughtful? Did you?
Oh, for batting lineup?
It's,
Oh,
it's
I wish I
not
would've
a
done
batting
that.
Oh, I
lineup.
thought that's what we were supposed to do. Because in my mind, I was like, when I put this team together,
Okay.
I have to have lineup mode
don't
in
even-
my mind because otherwise I'll just get just a bunch of home run mashers. And
Yeah,
I
but
won't.
If they all hit home runs, then you
Justin-
never stop scoring.
Yeah, if they all hit home runs, that's okay. Just
or if
throwing
they
that
just
out
get
there.
walks and strikeouts.
But I just a sec. I should be able to do this really quick.
Okay.
Do you want
Yeah,
to work on
Andrew,
that
you
while
go
I
with
read mine?
yours. I feel like Daniel could.
That'll be good.
multitask.
It'll help keep the.
But you're not doing lineup. You're just giving.
No,
your-
this isn't
okay.
a lineup.
Are we
I-
doing a
for my-
DH or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Full 9-guy lineup and a starting pitcher.
I have to pick a DH.
We all
Well,
know
that's
it's
easy.
all.
Come on,
Edgar.
we all
It's
know
easy.
that- yeah,
it's
easy.
Edgar for all.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I
Come
panicked for a second, and then I realized that it was easy.
Yeah.
So I'll start off with my DH then, Edgar, obviously.
Okay. Very good.
Attaboy.
My starting pitcher is Nolan Ryan.
Solid.
Mostly because he beat whoever his face is up at the mound. Like that's one. That's as I am not the baseball historian that Daniel is for sure, but I'm not very much of a baseball historian. So I literally picked these names, but I know that name and I know why I know that name. Because
During
that was
pre-show
awesome.
prep, Andrew literally said, "My pitcher is Nolan Ryan. Go ahead, charge my mound."
Catcher, I picked Yadier Molina
Attaboy. That's a great
because
catcher.
he's still playing. right?
He is still playing.
And I didn't have any other players who were still playing.
Yachty's
And
good.
And I just I recently saw a breakdown that John Boy did where Yadier was like behind the plate, just knowing what was going to happen.
That's
and that
an
was pretty
interesting
cool.
thing that I wasn't thinking about. Do I have any current players on my team?
It's a meaningless thing,
I
I
also
think,
only
but
have
I
one.
did think of it. First base, obviously Lou Gehrig, because
Obviously.
it's Lou Gehrig. He has a day named after him. There we go.
Yeah.
So I felt pretty solid about that.
Yep.
I have stats here, but I don't really know what any of them mean. He hit a 340 average though for his career. That's pretty cool.
It's kind of stupid. And he also was nicknamed the Iron Horse.
Yes, I did know that. Although I wasn't going to include it, so I appreciate you.
sorry.
You didn't steal my thunder.
I have a lot of random facts about a lot of people, but not about the first few that I looked up and the last few that I looked up. So I didn't start off with as much vigor, and I didn't finish with as much vigor. In the middle, there's some good stuff.
My second baseman is Jackie Robinson. I felt
Good.
also
Yep.
he has a day named after him, or a baseball day. I don't know. Baseball has a day named after him.
Yep.
We all agree or know who he is. He's
Yeah,
good.
he's really good.
Shortstop Cal Ripken Jr.
Ooh.
I think he was kind of the other Iron Man. Isn't he the
he
one that
broke the
took
record.
that broke Lou Gehrig's record?
Yep.
Third base, Brooks Robinson. I'll be entirely honest. I've never heard of Brooks Robinson.
Oh.
He's really
But
good.
according to this
was an Oriole.
thing,
there's two
he
Orioles
won
right there.
16 Gold Glove awards and earned 18 All-Star appearances in 23 years with the Orioles.
I'm a little
So-
disappointed I didn't pick him.
So
I might
that's-
change my third baseman.
That's my third baseman. No relation to Jackie Robinson.
I did not go defense for my third baseman, which now I feel a little bad about that because I think I would have gone with Brooks. It would have been farther up there.
You could have added
Yeah.
another Oriole
You're
and had
making-
Frank Robinson.
You're making me
No
I should
relation
have
to
gone
Brooks
all
Robinson.
Robinsons, huh? You're making me
Once-
feel very good that I picked one player that you're like, oh, I like that.
No,
My
you
dad
haven't-
said when he was a kid once because my dad grew up near Baltimore, so they were big Orioles fans.
Ooh.
And my dad told me he once asked his dad if Brooks Robinson and Frank Robinson were brothers. Which, if you've seen them, you know they're not.
Outfielders, I have in no particular order because I have no idea what. I probably picked 3 corners.
No, you
and
probably
I've got
picked
a
3 centers.
In which
'cause
case, that's great, though,
I was
right?
looking. I was wondering about this. Do you pick 3 outfielders or do you pick them by position they played? Because I picked them by position they played, but I have no qualms about you just
Right,
picking
I
3 guys.
literally just picked outfielders.
Okay, let's hear
But
'em.
also, it's Hank Aaron, Barry Bonds, and Willie Mays.
So
I
Aaron-
don't think I'm picking them for their.
You said Barry
defense.
Bonds and Willie Mays.
Yeah.
You literally picked right field, center field, left field.
Oh, I meant to do that.
Barry Bonds played left.
I was
Hank-
fooling you.
Willie Mays played center, and Hank Aaron played right.
Good job, Andrew.
Right
Yeah,
on.
well
I
done.
did- yeah, definitely did it on purpose.
And your lineup's great. Like,
My team will kick your team's butt.
Not if you come near the mound.
that's a good point. You're gonna get punched in the head, not in the face, in the head. Because Nolan Ryan didn't aim for any of those soft spots on the face. He just aimed for the forehead. Sorry. All right, Justin.
Okay, so yeah, I think.
And you went lineup, right?
I did.
Okay.
So I'll say I didn't probably put quite as much into this as you did.
I don't know. I think you probably put it about the same.
I didn't look up stats to give you. I looked up stats on the guys, but I didn't compile notes, so I'm not going to be able to give you. I'll just give you my lineup,
Okay.
and you can tell me where I'm wrong. So leading off,
Okay.
playing right field, even though technically he was a left fielder, I have Ricky Henderson.
Okay.
And I didn't actually have a memory in my head of where Ricky Henderson played in the outfield, so I had to look it up.
Dude, only reason I knew on a bunch of these is because the list that I was kind of started my research
Yeah.
on put what position they primarily played.
Gotcha. Okay. So I went classic leadoff guy.
Yeah, that's solid.
Gets on base a ton.
Maybe the best leadoff
base
guy of
stealer.
all time.
That's where I was going with that, because since I told you I was building it I built it out as a lineup. I started with that mentality.
Okay. I like
So
that.
I got Ricky Henderson in right field, second base, Jackie Robinson, and I'll say this: this is my only old timey guy, because I sort of went with. I think there's a billion different ways you could go with this. I sort of went with the thought of, could I drop this guy in a game today and he would still be great? And when I was looking at most of the old guys, I was like, obviously they're great. And actually, Andrew and I were just having this conversation with his wife before you got here, Daniel, of reasonable people believe that you couldn't drop Babe Ruth in today's game with a time machine and he would mash. He probably wouldn't be very good. But if Babe Ruth were born 24 years ago with today's training and technology, he probably would be great.
That makes sense.
So
because you definitely see guys who are probably built kind of like Babe Ruth who do pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not saying
Yeah,
that
it isn't the build.
It's
Babe
just
Ruth
if you
couldn't
took,
have been good.
If you went time machine from his prime with no training and
Yes.
just dropped him in.
because
Hey,
pitches
he'd
have
be
gotten
hungover.
nastier. There was segregation back then of the league, so he wasn't playing against black players for most of his career.
Yeah.
So like I do legitimately
Guys are
think
throwing 100 miles an hour with movement. They
I will
weren't
say-
doing that 100 years ago, were they?
I don't know about the movement. I know that radar detection, because I know that by today's radar standards, Nolan Ryan was throwing like 107 or 108 miles an hour. Because
Really?
his 100-mile-an-hour pitch was clocked like 10 or 20 feet after he released it. And right now,
And
they
now
clock
they
it
clock
as
it
soon as it
at-
comes out of your hands.
I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
always assumed it was where it crossed the plate.
No, see, that's how it used to, when they first started doing it, it was where they crossed the plate. Back when Walter Johnson was pitching, they were trying to figure it out. So they literally were like, hey, all right, let's have him throw through this glass pane window and then into this thing and then like try and time it. And so it was all sorts
That
of
would
weird
be
stuff.
so cool.
Yeah.
That would be I don't have the brain to figure that out. I love the idea. Like a documentary about how they figured all that stuff out would be amazing.
Dude,
I
there's
agree.
a great documentary called The Fastball that basically just tracks like the fastballs from like when baseball started through till like Aroldis Chapman, who has the record right now of 105.3 miles an hour or something like that. But they went back and said, look, Nolan Ryan had his fastball tracked like 10, 15, 20 feet, whatever it is, out of his hand. And they, in their head, I mean, they can't prove it, but in their minds, they thought that it would have been like 107, 108 miles an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
okay. So
Sorry.
I've got no.
Sidetrack.
That's good.
No,
that's what this is all about.
yeah.
So Ricky Henderson leading off, Jackie Robinson batting second,
Love it.
third hitter, playing center field.
Yeah.
Ken Griffey Jr. I have always said, and I will maintain, the greatest player I've seen in my lifetime.
I'm a
is
little
Ken Griffey
surprised
Jr.
that Andrew didn't go with Junior.
You know what? I was going to just pick, as Justin revealed, I was going to just pick an all Mariners.
And then you didn't pick any.
And then I
Edgar.
didn't
Oh,
have...
Edgar, you're right.
I didn't have very many to choose from for like... that I could be like, no, this is just the greatest.
Yeah.
And so I just gave up and Googled for a different list.
Okay.
I almost picked Ichiro as my right fielder, and
I thought that's where you're going. When you said right field, I thought you were
yeah,
going Ichiro.
I really almost did. I had the name typed in, and then I changed it because I was like, "It's Ricky, man.
yeah.
You just got to do
I
it."
got it.
Batting cleanup in left field, prime Barry Bonds,
Okay.
which Sean, our buddy Sean, constantly reminds me whenever I say Ken Griffey Jr. is the greatest player I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He reminds me, hey, pre-steroids Barry Bonds was incredible, and he
was.
also was a great fielder as well.
He was, but he was also a left fielder, Sean. Much easier position.
I mean, he only batted .298.
And
What did Junior bat? Junior hung on for so long. I feel like his batting average just got thrashed at the end.
I feel like my next two might be a little controversial, but I think I can also defend both of them.
Okay.
Because at batting fifth, and I think a lot of the old,
Well, that's a terrible spot to bat in.
a lot of the first basemen that come up are going to be the old timey guys.
Yes.
But I heard Tim Kirkjian the other day saying that this guy's prime, if you look at it statistically, could potentially be the best prime in the history of baseball.
I
And
really hope it's who I think it is, because I thought about trying to dig this up.
Batting fifth, playing first base, Albert Pujols.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you might go
Pujols.
John Olerud.
I thought-
because remember we had that one
Yes.
Stump Daniel where you threw out some Olerud stats that were just nuts.
I almost went Olerud. That's another one where I had his name typed in, and
Yeah.
then I was like, dang it, I got to go back and look up what Kirkjian was saying. And I
Yeah.
looked at, like, the prime 7 years of Albert Pujols' career are absolutely insane.
They're bonkers.
Olerud was who I was planning on picking until I learned that Lou Gehrig played first base.
Yeah.
This is the big one that I think you guys might not like. But batting sixth, playing third base, I have Alex Rodriguez.
You terrible person. What is wrong with you?
Moving on. 'Cause I'm not gonna,
Okay, Daniel. So what's your?
Well, anyway, leading off, I have.
It's been a really long time since you turned my mic off. This used to be a go-to move. It's been a long time.
What is
Okay.
wrong with you?
Batting seventh,
Okay.
playing shortstop,
All right.
Cal Ripken Jr.,
Solid.
the Iron Man,
Yep.
also a phenomenal defensive player. I was trying to think about defense as well when I built my team.
Both of those, by the way, played shortstop and then third base
Yep.
later in their career.
Yep. But A-Rod played it.
A-Rod
A-Rod
and
played
Cal Ripken.
more third base while he was actually still really good. Ripken didn't move to third till the last couple of years of his career.
That's
when-
because Jarek Dieter. Jarek Dieter is a
captain.
tool. He's a tool.
a secret tool,
Yep.
really.
Yep.
Most people think he's not a tool.
Yep. Until what he did to the Marlins.
Yeah.
It's the secret's out now.
What do you do to the Marlins?
Destroyed them.
Here's one
The
thing
franchise is he bought into the
Oh, as an owner.
Yeah, as an
Oh,
owner.
Yeah, but he's
Okay,
also been
cool.
acting as the team president, I believe.
yeah, and it's just been bad.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so I think they're actually slightly better this year, but
Yeah.
Miami fans are in general not happy.
Yes.
Here's
happy
one thing you
people.
don't
They're
hear
just not
very
happy
often.
people.
Designated hitter, batting eighth,
Right?
Edgar Martinez, but I was trying to shimmy him in at higher spots, and I was like, dang, this is a really good team. So, Edgar, I'm sorry. You're my favorite, but you're batting eighth.
I can't believe that you didn't put him at third.
Oh, third base.
Yeah.
Because he had Alex Rodriguez there because he's a
Right.
goober face.
Exactly my point.
But then who would have been my DH? See, then I thought, like, does DH mean I could just throw anybody in there? Like, could I do the thing where I'm like, well, I don't have room for Mike Trout in my outfield, so I'm going to make him my DH?
Yeah.
I considered
see why
that,
you
but then I
couldn't do
was
that.
like, I felt like it would be cheating, and I needed to pick a guy who was actually a DH.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus,
Smart.
it's Edgar.
Yeah.
Also, okay, so this one, I don't think any of us are going to have the same catcher because I went with one where since I was going defensive minded, I went with a guy who had. He did have a really great offensive prime, but he also had a great defensive reputation and a really high thrown out stolen base rate. And I went with Pudge Rodriguez. You too?
Yes.
Oh,
Me too.
that's awesome.
I had Johnny Bench.
Me too.
And then,
I changed it because I was like, I have no idea if Johnny Bench was a good fielder.
me too. I know that he was listed as being good at defense.
You had A-Rod too, didn't you?
No, I did not have A-Rod.
A-Rod kept on showing up on his list, but he kept on
Hitting
just
dismiss.
going right over the top of him because
So-
he has a soul.
Since we have
Daniel.
talked a
Daniel
lot,
has a soul.
since we have talked a lot about how important defensive catchers are,
Yes.
and I think it's something
And-
people like casual fans don't think about a lot. But the defensive play of a catcher is really important, which
Yeah.
is why even though Zunino wasn't great, we were really sad to see him go because he's
Yeah.
a really good
And
defensive
why
catcher.
he went to play on a really good team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, with this in mind, I need to know that the guy I pick can hit. And Pudge was a really good hitter.
Yeah.
But he also had a really great reputation as a fielder.
Yeah. As a mid-90s baseball fan of when I really got into baseball, the nostalgia of Pudge Rodriguez playing for the Texas Rangers with like the reflecty sunglasses
Yeah,
on and
he was
just
so cool.
gunning out people and just being a boss.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like Johnny Bench, and then I looked at Rodriguez's numbers and I was like, "Pff, if just because it's close at all, I got to go with Rodriguez. The guy was awesome.
So
All right.
to round out my team,
yep, who's pitching?
Because I only have to have a pitcher, and I'm realizing as I'm looking at it, I am definitely of the opinion that the golden age of baseball was mid '90s to early 2000s because that is what almost my whole team is.
Yep.
Starting pitcher is Pedro Martinez because
I saw him on a list.
Yeah.
And was a little surprised, and then read about it, and was like, "Oh,
injury issues." And he also didn't start great immediately. But if you look at like the 5-year prime of his career, and when I cycle back through pitchers in my mind that at any given moment seemed absolutely unhittable, Pedro is like for me. It was either him or Randy Johnson, and I really liked both of those guys. But like Pedro had that nasty unhittable stuff.
So I'm a little disappointed in both of you.
Okay.
Because you both have Barry Bonds.
Yep.
And yet neither of you have Roger Clemens.
I don't think Clemens was better than Pedro Martinez.
Do you know how many Cy Youngs Roger Clemens has?
No.
7.
That's a lot.
It's crap ton.
I thought about picking Cy Young.
I didn't pick Roger Clemens because I think he's a giant tool bag steroid user and a giant tool bag. But that's also why I didn't pick Barry Bonds, because he's a giant tool bag steroid using tool bag.
I picked peak Barry Bonds, who hadn't used steroids yet.
That's understandable.
So did I.
I actually thought of that as I was doing it. I was
so
like,
I picked.
Sean says,
why didn't you pick Pete Roger Clemens?
Really good.
I did pick Alex Rodriguez roiding though.
Yeah.
So obviously I didn't have that many standards.
Because I picked Nolan Ryan.
I understand that, but Roger Clemens was Nolan Ryan, but better. Do you know that this is one of the weirdest
stats?
I
need to see the video of him beating a dude over the head.
He throws bats
for
at
the
people.
Audacity of approaching him at the mound.
Roger Clemens threw bats at people. Feels kind of similar.
That does actually feel kind of similar.
I mean, not as cool because one was like, bring it up. Yeah. One of them was like, come on, bring it. I'll hit you with my fist. And the other one threw a bat. But, kind of similar. Column A, column B. So anyway,
what was his ERA?
I think those are my only gripes with
ERA. Out of curiosity,
his career ERA is 3.12 for
Roger Clemens.
But he had a season towards the end of his career when he was 42 years old that he
destroyed it.
Probably. No, he had a 1.87 ERA in 32 starts.
Jeez. Yeah,
at
steroids.
42.
Yeah, steroids.
But so I think if you did if you were to go out and pick statistically the 5 best, because the thing with Clemens is the longevity. Like you mentioned,
not just the longevity. He had 7 Cy Youngs.
I'm with you, but he was great for a really long period of time.
But so he's also ludicrous.
Just let me finish my damn sentence.
Sorry,
you took the the 5 best years of Roger Clemens and the 5 best years of Pedro Martinez, I think they're really comparable based on what I was looking at for Pedro and now what I'm looking at on Roger Clemens' career.
Yeah.
I think you could go through there and pick out, here's my 5 best years, and I think they're really close to each other.
I'm sorry for being a dick.
I
apologize. That was such a dick move right there. I apologize.
I was asking about the ERA because I was blown away by Cy Young's numbers.
Dude, yeah, Cy Young is insane.
2.63 ERA. And he pitched 749 complete games.
Yeah,
in 1990, Clemens had 31 starts, 21 wins, and a 1.93 ERA. That was like his 8th season.
You know the weirdest stat that I think I've ever heard? Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young. That is the weirdest thing to me.
That is interesting.
I considered the possibility of making Nolan Ryan my pitcher, and the biggest Nolan Ryan fan that I know is our buddy Sean. And because, as I mentioned last week, whenever I have baseball questions, I usually go to one of you.
Yeah.
So I texted Sean, is Nolan Ryan the greatest pitcher in Major League history?
And he went with Pedro.
And he said, sadly, it's taken me many years to come to this conclusion, but no, he's not. He's really good. He's probably in the top 5 to 10 range, but he's not the greatest. And we talked about Pedro and Randy Johnson, and he was like, it's pretty much a split between those guys.
Gotcha. I'm okay with either of those. All right, so
that Clemens throwing the bat at Piazza thing was so wild.
I know, so nuts.
What was going through his head? And then he said later, I thought it was the ball. But then he threw it.
He was probably telling the truth.
Yeah.
I was playing peg outs.
Anyway, Daniel, the much anticipated Daniel Hargrove lineup.
All right.
We need it.
I'm going to go leading. So you guys both went. You went very rarely old-timey guys.
Yeah.
Some of the stats of the old-timey guys are just ludicrous.
Yeah.
I went more old-timey. I had to purposely pick a catcher that I was like, oh, wait, I need a player that's still playing.
All right. So batting first, playing second base. is Rogers Hornsby.
Ooh,
Now,
yeah.
you know, with a name like Rogers Hornsby, dude played a long time ago.
Yeah.
1924, to be
Yeah.
exact. Now, when looking up second baseman, you had mentioned when you were doing your list, can I just pick somebody and put him at second? Because there's not as many stud second basemen. So I was looking at Hornsby and Jackie Robinson were the two that I was looking at. And first of all, that's where the Stump Daniel, Stump Justin question came from. I was like, oh, Jackie Robinson actually won an MVP. I knew he was really good, but MVP is like next level. Rogers Hornsby, he had a career batting average of 358.
It's decent.
He had an on-base percentage of 434 and a slugging percentage of 577.
Okay.
So the thing that surprised me about Hornsby is because there was a decent amount of players back then who had ridiculous batting averages, right? Like that was the era of batting average. So Hornsby boasts the third highest career batting average behind only Ty Cobb and Oscar Charleston. He hit over 400 3 times. This is including 424 in 1924, which is just bonkers. But this is the thing that got it for me. 2 years earlier in 1922, he combined a 401 batting average with 42 home runs. The dude hit over 400 while hitting 42 dingers.
Wow.
That is insane.
How close to the Babe Ruth's era is this?
Babe Ruth played...
Because I heard a stat the other day that when Babe Ruth broke the career home runs record, it was like 100 something.
Oh, for career?
Yeah.
Oh. Let's see here.
Because I'm thinking like they're right after Babe Ruth,
Babe Ruth
everybody was
played
like,
so early.
oh man, so like we can hit home runs and it works as a
Yeah,
thing.
so Babe Ruth played from 1914 to 1935.
So okay,
So Hornsby put up his 42 home runs in 1922 and bested Babe Ruth by 7 home runs.
Gotcha.
That year.
Okay,
So Babe Ruth
he's
hit,
part of the movement that was like, oh, Babe Ruth hits home runs, we can hit him too.
Yeah. So Babe Ruth hit 35 home runs in the same year that Hornsby had 42.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you're right. He started the movement, and then people were like, oh, dingers is okay. So I'm going with him leading off. So great average, also the ability to hit dingers, which shocked me. And that was an accomplishment that nobody else has ever bested. Nobody ever has hit 401 with 42 home runs ever. So he's leading off for me. Hitting second is Ted Williams, playing left field. Ted Williams was one of the players that I didn't write down near as much about, except for the fact that
Just
he
look up
had
your Mike Trout notes and you can just say the same thing.
Yeah, pretty close. He had a career batting average of 344, on base of 482, and a slugging percentage of 634, which is insane. He also ended his career with 521 home runs. Let's see. What did Hornsby figure it? Just a second. He had 301 home runs over his career, so still a lot. So Ted Williams also had the book, The Science of Hitting. The guy was insane. And that was he had 521 home runs with missing 3 seasons in his prime because he was overseas fighting in a war. All right. Next, I have batting third. I have obviously the greatest center fielder of all time, Ken Griffey Jr. When looking for center fielders, I kept finding names and going, wow, there's a lot of really good center fielders. This might be the most stacked position of history. And then every time I saw him, I'm just going,
Nope.
Sorry.
You're not Griffey.
You're not Griffey.
You're not the kid.
Yep. Sorry, Ty Cobb.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mickey Mantle.
Is that because it's a really athletic position? Like, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
shortstops and
Yeah.
center fielders.
Surprisingly, shortstop has really been a revolution of the last. Like
That's
shortstop
true, 'cause it was,
historically
your
is like
best
this
defensive player.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this like awesome defensive player, but they didn't really worry about it. So I was looking at shortstops, and throughout the careers of players, like, you know, you had Cal Ripken, which I think was he's probably started it, the new generation of shortstops. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it was like he came into the league early '80s,
Yeah.
and so most of the
And-
great hitting shortstops you think of came after that.
Yeah, exactly. So Junior's, I feel like everybody knows Junior. We don't need to get into
I'm
his
just
greatness.
embarrassed that Andrew didn't pick him on his
I know, it's kind of frustrating.
team. Willie
First,
Mays. Who?
first base, First base was really close between Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig for me, but I went with Babe Ruth because, he's the legend.
So
he's
you're
like
the only
first...
one of us that has Babe Ruth on his team.
Yeah.
Like
714 career home runs. I did look at his pitching. He was a pretty darn good pitcher, too. 714 home runs, 342 career average, 474 on base, and a 690 slugging percentage, which is also just insane. So he's hitting fourth. Got to put the big man at hitting fourth. Hitting fifth is going to be Hammerin' Hank Aaron.
Can't go wrong there.
Can't go wrong with Hammerin' Hank. He broke Babe Ruth's career home run record. He's still the honest record holder of that, which is why
The honest record holder.
Ted Williams is, playing left field for me. Batting sixth is my designated hitter, Edgar Martinez.
Ooh, so I stuck Edgar Martinez in the 8 hole.
Yeah,
you got
did.
him batting 6th.
I did, because you look at him and his numbers are insane. A career batting average of 312, 309 home runs, on base percentage of 418, slugging 515. He also had 514 doubles. The award is named after him. I was a little surprised at how close David Ortiz came in this decision, though. It was closer than I thought it was going to be, because he does have more home runs and his on base and slugging percentage were actually better.
But also, you don't like the steroid guys.
Was Poppy a steroid guy?
Oh, he was named in the Mitchell report.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there we go. I
don't know anything.
He kind of came after it.
Yeah.
Or like,
well, he was another one of those guys who had a
like
massive body transformation.
Did he really?
Yeah,
Okay,
'cause he
so
was
I don't
kinda
remember him
skinny.
at all before, so that makes sense.
But it's fair to note, I think, that just being like, people throw that out there, you were named in the Mitchell report, and there was so many players named in it, and not all of them were even accused to have done steroids.
Yeah.
But so I don't know what his involvement was in that, but I do know for a fact that he was named in the Mitchell report.
All right, so third base, this was a tough decision for me, because I was looking at, I wish I would have learned more about Brooks Robinson, honestly. That's legit. I was looking at Mike Schmidt.
Didn't go Alex
Good
Rodriguez.
old Get Schmidt face. He was really good. George Brett, even better in my mind, even though he was listed opposite. But I went with my only current player.
Okay.
I went with Miguel Cabrera.
Oh, that's a good one.
He-
500 home runs.
502 home
3,000
runs,
hits.
3,000 hits. He has a career batting average of 310, on base of 387, a slugging 532. He's also the only Triple Crown winner in the past 50 years.
Yeah.
So that is my only
That's a
current
good.
player.
That's a really good one.
Not
I
known
wish that
for
I
his
had,
defense, though.
I wish that I had gone that way instead of picking A-Rod.
The Big Cat. Well,
But-
actually, I'm not sure. Big Cat was Andre Scalaraga.
You could
Never
play
mind.
Edgar at third, and
You could, yeah.
Yeah.
And
then have David Ortiz be your DH.
you could.
I-
you could go that way, too.
I heard.
well, I was saying Cabrera. You could put Cabrera.
At DH?
Yeah, DH. You could keep him on
Yeah.
the team.
He has played
Same
first in this
lineup.
amount, too. Yeah.
yeah, I heard, because the Cabrera thing. I don't remember which milestone he just hit. The 500 home runs or the 3,000 hits. Is that what it was?
It was the 500 home runs that I know of, because he's got 502. But
Yeah.
maybe he did both.
He does have both, but I don't know which one. He hit one of those this year. So
He
it
hit
probably was.
502.
So it probably was home runs that he hit his 500th this year.
Yeah.
And I heard some analysts talking about it in anticipation when he had 499, and they were talking about him as potentially the greatest pure hitting right-hander of this generation.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think
like,
so.
honestly, there's the list of guys who have 3,000 hits and 500 home runs is really short.
It's
What is
crazy.
It's an
Pure
elite
hitting
list.
right-hander.
I think it's a way of saying
That's a good question.
you're
Why-
slow and you're not a very good fielder.
Oh, you mean like
could
only,
just hit.
he only hit?
But
okay,
also
I got
just
you.
the natural,
like just the best hitter.
hitting ability,
Yeah,
because
okay.
he also has a reputation for not having taken care of himself very well. So when the question comes up of what could Miguel Cabrera have been if he ever had to try, and if he ever tried, like, stop eating so many cheeseburgers,
Yeah.
work out more, stretch before games, like, how good could this guy have
Yeah.
been? He could have been even better.
I was
It's
just
the Prince Fielder thought.
I was just misinterpreting. I was thinking like pure hitting. Like what is pure hitting?
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
think it's your natural hitting ability.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
yeah.
So so he's batting 7th. Batting 8th, I've got my catcher, because I like speed at top and the bottom of the order. So I put Pudge Rodriguez catching, like I said, I was looking at Johnny Bench. But Bench, it's weird. So the ESPN list I had said some weird things. So at catcher, they had Johnny Bench. A lot has been left up for a debate, but not this. Johnny Bench is the greatest catcher in MLB history.
That's a lot of information.
And so I was like, oh, Johnny Bench must be my best catcher. And it was like he brought uncommon offensive prowess and unquestioned defensive excellence to the sport's most rigorous position, accumulating 10 Gold Glove awards and twice leading the majors in home runs, which is great. But Pudge Rodriguez has a better batting average than him and has comparable numbers all the way throughout everything else. And he was also a super legit defender
with a cannon for an arm,
with an
who
absolute
throw out
rocket.
he guys trying to steal bases like
Yeah.
crazy.
So I don't know. I was just like, really? There's not a debate there? Because Johnny Bench hit 267 and Rodriguez hit 296 over his career. So I feel like there's got to at least be a debate. Yeah. Plus, I liked Pudge better, so I went with him.
Yeah. Sunglasses.
Yeah, the sunglasses. Seriously. That's when I first fell in love with those sunglasses. And also, he helped up Dan Wilson when after he plowed over Dan Wilson. And I was like, two catchers running into each other, good sportsmanship showed between two catchers that I liked. Sure. Anyway, that's honestly one of the first times I became a fan.
Francis has a whole string of commentary when you're ready.
I bet. That's good. And then, let's see, batting 9, I have the great Honus Wagner playing shortstop. This is definitely old school era shortstop, just hit for average like a crazy person, as he hit 328 for his career, only 101 shortstops. Also a super awesome nickname. They called him the Flying Dutchman. And I was like, that plays into my decision here. I also wrote down as an option Alex Rodriguez. You know, he was great, but I said Alex Rodriguez, a.k.a. Money Grubber. First overall pick at 17, incredibly skilled, but he's Alex Rodriguez, so I'm not going to go with it. For pitchers, also for shortstop, I wrote down, let's see, who else was I considering? I was considering Derek Jeter.
Couldn't keep a straight face.
No! I was like, wait, what? I almost got angry. I just about jumped over the table here.
Justin was like, and you came at me for Ricky.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
It would be even more ridiculous.
All right. Then for pitchers, I was considering Mariano.
I couldn't even get through the name. You couldn't get through the whole name. Mariano
Starters,
Rivera.
Daniel.
We needed
is
a
pitchers
starter.
that can
Not
pitch
a
a whole game.
Yeah,
Okay,
not a
you're right.
failed
All
starter.
right. No, there's so many good pitchers. I finally went with pitchers. There's so many good ones that finally I just went with the one that was my favorite, because I feel like you can make such a good argument for all of them. So I went with Greg Maddux. 3.16 career ERA, 355 wins, 3,371 strikeouts, over 5,000 innings pitched, and he did it so differently from what you normally think of as the most dominant pitchers. He was not a flamethrower. His fastball was not overpowering, and yet he was just amazing. I mentioned in the trivia that he had 300-plus wins, 3,000-plus strikeouts, and fewer than 1,000 walks, which is just insane. He's the only pitcher to ever do that. And plus, he's got a thing called after him, the Maddox, a complete game shutout with fewer than 100 pitches, which is also just ludicrous. So I went with Greg Maddux. And yeah, I had a bunch of other great pitchers that I put way too much information about in here. Bob Gibson was
There's so many good choices on pitchers. It's
seriously,
so hard.
Bob Gibson once faced three batters after suffering a broken leg. That's just ridiculous. Sandy
it's
Koufax,
not playing a whole football game with a broken leg, but whatever.
Sandy Koufax is widely regarded as one of the greats, even though he only pitched 6 years. Satchel Paige would have been probably one of the greatest. But he only played in the Negro leagues, and he probably would have been one of the greatest of all time, but we just don't know too many stats. But one of my favorite, he's got just the legendary stories about him, right?
Satchel Paige.
Yeah. So one of my favorite Satchel Paige stories is he once walked the bases loaded to then face the other team's best hitter in the game-winning situation and then struck him out. He was like,
On purpose?
Yeah,
Or was
no.
struggling
no,
to... No.
on purpose was like, you can go to first, you can go to first, you can go to first. I'm going to strike out you to win the game.
Can you imagine how hard if a pitcher did that? Can you imagine how hard their next batter would get beamed?
Yeah, it's a good point. Another story I just read. I didn't know this about him, but apparently one time he famously commanded his infielders to sit down to strike out hitters before he struck out hitters. So he did this multiple times. He told his infielders, "Take a seat, boys," and then struck out dudes. How disrespectful is that?
That would get in my head hard. I'm not going to lie.
That's exactly what my wife said. She was like, could you imagine being the batter and seeing that happen?
You'd be like, oh no. All I have to do is make contact.
And if I was in the infield, I'd be like, screw you, guy. You don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting down on the dirt. That's yucky.
I'm a little surprised that since you guys apparently have no scruples, none of you guys mentioned Pete Rose.
We talked
I
about
almost
Pete Rose.
picked Pete Rose.
We did talk about
I don't know
Pete
what
Rose.
position he played, and I didn't have time to look it
He
up.
played all over the place.
Yeah.
I also
He's my
mentioned
utility.
he's the utility. I put him down as a utility player, and then Shoeless Joe Jackson. I just thought he's always an interesting story to mention.
From Field of Dreams.
Field
He
of
didn't wear
Dreams.
shoes.
He had a career batting average of 356 apparently, and was insane. Also hit 375 in the World Series that he's accused of throwing, which I don't know if he did other things, maybe on defense to throw that, but he was one of the guys blackballed from baseball.
The commentary on that was he took the money, but then didn't throw the game.
That's what I've heard too.
While the rest of his team throwed the game.
Throwed it. They
The
throwed
games
it.
is.
Yep.
Yeah, I just can't stop thinking about you saying Mariano Rivera was even like possible on this list. Like the fact that he would make a list of greatest players
You know
of all
what?
time.
You know what was hilarious is this list was so dumb. This list was so dumb. It had Bryce Harper on it.
Ugh.
It didn't have Edgar Martinez. It had Bryce Harper. And so now I understand people when they say that Bryce Harper is the most overrated player of all time, because for him to even be mentioned on that list currently is just stupid.
'Cause he won that one
but they
MVP.
also said that thing about Johnny Bench being like there's no debate that he was the greatest player at his position. Not 2 slots away was Mariano Rivera. And they started it out with the same exact thing. Well, there's no debate. There's debate for every other position, but there's no debate for this one. Mariano Rivera is the best player at his position. And I was like, you said that that was the only position, but literally 2 spots away on the list, you said the exact same thing for Johnny Bench. I'm like,
There has to be. It's like, but Mariano Rivera's position is a lower level of positions because
makes
it's
sense.
like it's a position where you can't quite play the good position, so we're gonna put you at like a lesser spot.
Exactly.
We'll let you just come in
Anyway.
at the end.
So I'm going top to bottom. My lineup is Hornsby leading off playing second. Then Williams playing left. Junior in center. Babe Ruth playing first. Hank Aaron playing right. Designated hitter Edgar Martinez. Miguel Cabrera playing third. Ivan Rodriguez playing catcher. And playing shortstop, Honus Wagner. Pitching is Greg Maddux. Sorry. That took me way longer.
Would you like to
because
know
it's
what
not in
Francis
order.
thinks?
I'm assuming he thinks my thing's trash.
He said, I wonder if Cascadia Prep is doing all-time baseball rosters this week. God, I hope not.
He's probably mad because the Yankeeist guy on my team is Alex Rodriguez.
He also says
I have Babe Ruth.
He's got a bunch of commentary here. He's been commenting like through your whole lineups.
Oh, good.
Since baseball is all home runs and strikeouts now, are all infielders irrelevant? Nobody worried about pitching to Edgar because they knew they were going to win anyway. Rolls eyes. What? No
Tell
closer?
that to the 95 Yankees.
What? No closer? Question mark?
Didn't need one with you didn't need one with Greg Maddux, who literally completed games in under 100 pitches. You know why? Because he could throw 9 innings.
You guys may have to explain this one to me. He says the show sent Billy to Detroit to watch Cabrera, Justin. It's homers.
Yeah, the Levitard
Okay.
show. Well, yeah, okay.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, I get it. I get what he's saying.
So he's saying you should have known what he was going for.
They're a Miami-based show, so because they were homers and he's a Marlins great.
Got you.
That they
right.
sent somebody to watch him get his 500.
I forgot that he was a Marlins great because he's been a Detroit great for a long time, too.
He also said Rick Smits played shortstop. Who knew?
Rick Smith.
No, Mike Schmidt.
Oh, Mike Schmidt played third. I said third, didn't I?
I don't know.
Maybe I slipped that one.
I'm
up.
pretty sure you said third.
Okay.
And this is talking, I think, about Satchel Paige's stories. More evidence in fields are unnecessary and have been for a long time. He wants to know if the Mariners are still playing or they're in tanking mode already.
Ouch.
And he says as he's very proud of the fact that the only throw he's seen at Safeco live or televised in the last 5 years was this week. Mina Kimes has Jamie Moyer power.
Did you see her first pitch? She threw out a first pitch.
Yeah.
Mina
Gotcha.
Kimes did. Yeah.
I heard that she did. I don't
Rick-
care about Mina Kimes.
Rick Smits, the Flying Dutchman.
Rick Smits is the Flying Dutchman.
He just said that.
I feel like that's from something. That's a reference that I'm not getting.
I don't know it.
I don't know it either.
Rick Smits.
I'm sure that he will angrily
Wait,
explain it
wait.
to me
That might be.
tomorrow.
I think that might be a basketball player. Isn't it? You, Justin? You should know this, shouldn't you? Isn't it? Rick,
Shouldn't you know basketball?
shouldn't you know basketball?
I thought basketball was your thing.
Rick Smits,
You're the one who's always saying you're
former
better than-
professional basketball player,
Nicknamed the Dunking
the
Dutchman.
Dunking Dutchman. So that's a different.
Francis.
That's a different name,
Come on,
Francis.
Francis. Be better.
He says Indiana Pacers.
Yep. 7'4".
What years did he play? Because Francis is old as crap.
1988 to 2000.
Oh, wow.
Okay, that's more recent than I thought.
His
Never mind, I
spouse
take it
is
back.
Candace Smits. All right.
Played with Reggie Miller.
So I feel like we got some good lineups here. I was
Yeah.
impressed with all of your lineups.
After going through it, I want to
I was
switch
disappointed
out.
that you guys put in Watermelon Head.
I want to switch out Alex Rodriguez for Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah.
I like
That's a
that
solid
third.
choice.
I really like that third base pick.
Yeah. Or Brooks Robinson.
Yeah, that's a good
I mean,
one too.
I'm going to say anybody but A-Rod.
It wasn't difficult. It didn't even cross my mind.
Money grubber.
At third.
I only want post steroids A-Rod. Wait, that's always.
Was it?
When was he not using steroids?
I don't know.
He didn't get popped till he was in Texas, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
He might not have got popped until he was in New York.
I'll take. No, I think the first time
But he got
was in
massive
Texas.
in
But it was
Texas.
never in Seattle.
No.
Okay, I want the best version of Seattle A-Rod. And I'm going to play him at third base.
That would be ludicrous to have that A-Rod play third base.
Yeah.
It was ludicrous to have the A-Rod in New York to play third base.
Agreed.
Anyway. Is that going to do it for our show?
I think so.
I think you're right.
So
That took a long time. I feel like that took a long time because of me, and I apologize. And also, I've got like just paragraphs and paragraphs of stuff I didn't say.
yeah,
We're so proud of you. No,
That was
we're just
fun, though.
joking.
that was fun.
That was really fun.
That was fun.
But make sure that you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at The Scrimmage, Instagram at The Scrimmage GH. And I think that's going to do it for our show today. So for my co-host, Daniel, there's some good stuff in the middle, Hargrove.
And Justin, I picked A-Rod as my third baseman, Damashevitz.
And our trusty producer, Andrew, the Say Hey Kid, gross, because he picked Willie Mays instead of Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, that's a shocker. You know, we didn't have one unanimous. Did we not?
Edgar.
Oh, we all had Edgar. That was our only
Duh.
unanimous player.
Did we all have Jackie Robinson?
No, he was number 2 on my list. I went with Rogers.
That's right.
Rogers Hornsby.
Yeah. We could have all had Barry Bonds.
No, we couldn't.
I think 2 of us had Cal Ripken Jr.
You know, I have lots of opinions on Ty Cobb and that he wasn't actually as bad of a dude as people think he is now.
That's so funny because that is literally a conversation that we were just having right
Really?
before you got
Yeah.
here. Because people always say Ty Cobb bragged about killing a guy.
What?
But actually, yeah.
Daniel's got opinions about it, but he doesn't have well-formed opinions.
I do. There's a book
I'm
written about it.
just joking.
Yeah, but no, but honestly, like I've heard a lot of what you're saying where the stories get blown up, and part of it is because when Ty Cobb was like dying of cancer and on his deathbed, he was doing interviews with a writer to write some kind of story on him.
Yeah.
And he told him, I killed a guy in Detroit. But
Well,
the real story that had been told previously was that he was like broken down on the side of the road with his wife, and three guys tried to jump him, and he's a real tough guy, and he just kicked the crap out of all of them and left them there, and maybe assumed that one of them died or didn't care
Yeah.
whether they died.
Also, I'm not sure if it was that reporter, but there was one writer who just hated him.
Yeah,
And just literally made up a bunch of stuff about him that wasn't
Yes.
true.
I heard that as well.
That's crazy.
Especially with the he had a lot of bad reputation with the integration of baseball.
Yeah.
And that he would say terrible things to the black players.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's other conflicting stories that are like, no, he was actually one of the guys who wanted to integrate
Yeah.
the leagues.
Absolutely.
So I don't
So
know
yeah,
if
there's
it's true.
conflicting stories, and some people are like, "Oh, well, he grew up in the South, so obviously." But then I heard that his dad was actually like kicked out of an area because he spoke out on how racism was bad.
I don't know.
So who knows?
History.
Anyway, it definitely seems a lot more conflicted. That was a weird subject to just throw in right at the end during the outro.
I killed a guy in Detroit. I punched a high school kid.
Wait,
Just kidding.
you didn't do either of those things.
Just kidding.
Justin, somebody stop the show.
I'm going to confess to more stuff.